call the meeting to order. Get started.
Recording in progress.
All set? Okay, we'll get started. Select Board meeting agenda for October 21st, 2025. Thanks to all you people that did come after we rescheduled it for a couple of weeks. We had one Select Board person that just thought that the Bahamas would be a better place to live than Vermont.
Can't imagine who that was.
And then she didn't ask me to go with her.
No. Oh, she didn't? We had a great time.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I was here working. Changes to the published agenda. I have one, and that is resignation of John Malcolm from EC Fiber. Anybody else got anything?
No.
I'll plug that in right after the Robinson Hall grant work.
Okay.
So with that, the minutes of the September 16th meeting, I think everybody has a copy. They've been published. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, motion to accept as written.
Second.
Any discussion, changes, comments? Then let's declare them accepted as printed and published. Treasurer's report. Hello.
For September was $421,245.03. $197.18. And the total delinquent taxes due to the town is $26,749.71.
Got any estimate of what's come in through October, Callista?
For current taxes,
Yeah.
no. I don't have an estimate on it, but I know they're coming in very well.
Good. That's good.
There's probably about 300 parcels that have not paid yet. But I've not heard anything from any of the banks or the mortgage companies, which should be coming probably next week.
Okay. Any questions?
No. Move to accept as presented.
I'll second.
We'll declare them accepted as presented. Highway status. I called Glenn about 3:45 this afternoon, and he said that he had to go somewhere with his brother tonight. So the saga continues there. But in any event, they have been cleaning up some more ditches using the leaf blower. They got set back a little bit the day before yesterday, or whatever day it rained so much. We had some leaves that hadn't been cleaned. They plugged some culverts. No major damage, but they got to do a little bit more work on them. A couple of them overflowed and just washed out the driveway or whatever. But anyhow, that's basically it. The grant work has been submitted, I believe, Callista?
No, not yet. I'm waiting for one check to come back so I can submit them both. I'm hoping that
Okay.
Matt Waters will deposit the check that was sent to him last week ASAP. I've requested that he did that, and as soon as he does that, I'm all ready to submit both grants.
All right, well, that will clean up all of our grant work for 25. I have not had a meeting with Mark yet on the 26 grant and aid, which is a continuation of the work on Jenny Road, and there will be some work on Town Hill, on the steep part down to the sharp corner from the top of the hill, depending on how far the money goes. And if it doesn't go further enough, we'll probably do Town Hill instead of Jenny Road. So,
Bob, there was some grant work that was supposed to be done by the end of September, right?
there was 2 of them, and everything was completed. Bob.
Everything was completed?
Yeah, everything was done, so there's no concern about funds.
Losing
being
the
held.
funds or anything like that? Good.
Yep.
Great.
Trying to think what else. There was a little bit of a problem with Jim's excavator, so that's over to the gentleman that runs the repair shop at Waters facility to be fixed. Jimmy's kind of funny. He said, geez, he says, I hate to pay that amount of money. He says, can I trade it for the hours you used? So we'll be getting a bill from them for Jim's excavator, and then we'll deduct it from the bill that we need to pay him. So zero cost to us. But other than that, it's about time that they were getting ready for winter, so they are doing some of that work, and we'll be getting framework and stuff like that on the trucks shortly. You never know. I have nothing more that I can report. I haven't seen much of them for the past couple of weeks because I've been so busy, so I don't know of any other real particulars that I can throw out there.
I've asked for the last couple of months about the road signs that are missing, and are we ordering those, and what's the deal, and do you know where things are at with that?
I do not. Callista, do you know if we've got road signs on order?
Yes, they actually picked them up last week maybe, because they had to order quite a few of the posts.
Yep.
So they do have the signs. I'm guessing they probably haven't done them up yet, but they do have them.
Okay. Guess that answers that.
Yep,
So
great.
we'll get them in before
Yep.
frost. Okay. Questions? No comments? We'll move on to...
Is there anything new on the town garage that we want to talk about?
No,
No? Okay,
nope, not this month.
all right.
I'm not sure if I worded this right or not, Lisa, but you mentioned the wastewater results from the fall festival. I see there was minutes of a meeting, but I had not had time to read them, so...
Yeah, Jack, did you want to make a couple comments?
Well, it was really the wastewater committee's first attempt at engaging with the community. We had a table set up. It was hard, right next to the ice cream truck. It was hard to compete for their people's attention. But there were some people that came by and were pretty agnostic about, it seems like there is a lot more awareness among the public that needs to be engaged with. And so the wastewater committee is trying to come up with as much information as we can share and then try to disseminate it. But in general, it was a successful first attempt at trying to talk to people and see where they are. I think most people just are not aware of what the situation is.
And I think I would agree with that statement. At least anybody outside the village.
Yeah.
Anything else? Lisa, you want to add or not?
No, I don't think so. I guess I will say that we have reached out to Jonathan Ashley from Du Bois and King, and he has offered to come to one of our meetings and have a conversation. Again, all of those meetings are public, so anybody can come and attend as well, but it'll be more like a question and answer versus, a full presentation. Because upon reading the feasibility study, it generated a lot more questions from the committee's point of view, so they'd like to chat with him and get his feedback. So that will probably be, we have not firmed up the date, but sometime in November, and so we'll publish that.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Robinson Hall MERP grant work. I know you're right on top of it, Bill. You probably checked it out a couple times today.
Yeah, for sure. Fortunately, I have multiple eyes and ears. I'm zooming in from Colorado right now. I don't know if you can hear me okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Let me just start with where the very beginning. First step with Rob Saul was to vacuum out all of the old insulation, about 10,000 dead flies from the attic. That was done about a month ago. installing cellulose insulation. Oh, let me back up. Prior to Monday, we also had Shay in to do some vertical wall foam insulation with both air sealed. You can't do cellulose on a vertical face, you only do it on horizontal surfaces. So Monday they began the third and final step, which was to put R60 level cellulose throughout the whole attic. They'll be back tomorrow, and they should complete tomorrow. According to Chris, who's been very helpful, keeping our eyes and ears on things when I couldn't be there this week. The next step is Bob and I reviewed the competitive bids for mini-split installation and have awarded the job to Bright Light, and they're in the process of buying the equipment and looking at the calendar schedule. My expectation is that it'll probably be done sometime in November, but that's not anything they're saying yet. They'll commit to a firm date as soon as they know when they'll have the equipment in hand from the distributor. That's going to be a big step because we'll be switching over on the first floor from our existing heating system to the heat pumps, which will both heat and cool the first floor and give each room individual temperature control of those rooms. I try to stay in close touch with all of the users of those various rooms so people know what to expect and when to expect it. As soon as I have a firm date on when the mini splits are going to go in, I'll certainly let everybody know. It's been a fairly labor-intensive project to date. You know, I don't want to say we're on the schedule because I'm not sure what the schedule is, but except that we want to get it completed by the end of 2026. Very confident we will. I don't know if the select board wants to update on any of the other buildings. There's 3 other buildings. And by the way, just for those not familiar with the work program, this is 100% funded by the state as long as we stay within budget. And so far, I believe we're within budget. So.
I don't know how far they got, Bill, but I was up there with them yesterday morning when they got here. They went over with how they were going to try to get it done. We changed the access from the side of the hall across the main floor to the end window on the east side. They parked the truck right there in the street and just went up the end of the building into the window into that manner, and right up the stairs into the attic. So it was a much easier run for them, and it gave them a little extra hose. So I don't know how far they got, but the 2 kids...
Yeah, so there's some issues about them not having that.
What?
Great. Good. I lost audio for a second.
Okay. Anyway, I don't know how far they got because I didn't even see them here today, so I don't know if they were here or not.
Yes.
They got here from noon on, and we'll be back tomorrow to finish.
Okay. So anyway, a couple of young fellows, they seem to be very knowledgeable about what they're doing. It was kind of interesting the way they set it up. They've got these little short yardsticks that are about 24 to 30 inches long. They pin them up all over the place, and then they blow the cellulose in to the same depth everywhere. And it's just slightly under 20 inches, he told me, in depth. So.
Yeah, our 60 is the current state code for attic insulation. I think it's going to make a dramatic difference in the thermal efficiency and how comfortable people will feel in the building. It'll be very interesting to see if, in fact, we need to add any additional heat on the second floor. I think it's going to make the second floor pretty toasty and warm. So, be that as it may, just to be clear with everybody, the mini split system, we only have funds to do the first floor this year. Maybe we can pursue additional funding in the future, but first floor is obviously the priority because it's used, a lot more than the second floor. Does the select board want updates on any of the other buildings? You want to just stay focused on Robinson Hall?
Well, what's going on with the other ones?
Yeah, the food shelf is at the point where the wiring is in process. They've moved the various sub-panels all into one main panel in the closet off the main room. Their next step is to upgrade the service from 100 to 200 amps, but that has to be coordinated closely with Green Mountain Power because they also upgrade the transformer on the pole and drop a new line from the pole to the building. not Vermont time. I don't know what time zone they're in, but they get to it when they get to it, and it's very, very difficult to play around that. You know, the ball's right now in their court. As soon as they get done what they have to do, then Matt can take the next steps. And obviously, what's also tricky is you have to coordinate this in a way that the power to the 7 freezers and fridges is only interrupted for a few hours. It's not a big deal. I make sure that Diane Bennett and Jim Bennett are well aware of each and every step. And Jim has been up there with me whenever they've been on site, so pretty closely coordinating that. There's been a big delay in the engineering report from the fire department through no fault of our own. The engineering company that we had hired to do the work unbeknownst to us had been bought out by some British private equity company and was busy rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. And delayed getting the engineering report to us. Brian's been all over like bad bash. Hopefully within a matter of another week or so, we'll actually have the engineering report. And we really can't do anything with the firehouse area system without that engineering report. As soon as we have it, we'll be able to go out to bid to firms to do the work. But that's been a painful process for Brian. He's done his best to move that ball forward. The library, we now have final sign-offs on the 75 different state agencies that have to say anything we do with the library is a historic building. The bottom line, not getting into all the technical details, is we will be able to add a specially designed floor to the attic that allows us to put in an insulation cavity and to do so, and to meet all the necessary building codes and historic preservation requirements, fire codes, the whole 9 yards. And the engineers have signed off on it. We're just waiting for the final detailed drawing from the architect, so we're going to go out to bid to hopefully a local carpenter who can then build it. It's not going to be an easy thing to build just because access to the attic is difficult. Probably have to land a cherry picker to bring in lumber that we need to build. But again, that's going to make a huge difference in the thermal efficiency of the library going forward. And that, in a nutshell, is where we stand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice rundown, Bill, thanks.
Thanks.
All right, anybody got any?
I have 2 things I need to talk about. First of all, I want to talk about the Fall Festival, which I am so grateful and thankful for everyone who helped out and participated. It was beyond my expectations that it turned out as well as it did. But I also want to talk about the importance of the Fall Festival. So there was a lot of confusion in the beginning about who was in charge, who was running it. And it was totally a community-sponsored event. So we had to work out some issues. We had it at the school, of course, but did not have access to the school, which was a detriment. And I want to express the importance of the Fall Festival. First of all, besides it being a community event and bringing people together who may not know each other, we gave out so much information. Those tables that we had set up that had the information from the wastewater committee, the PTO, the Futures Reading, RCT, I tried to get all of our community organizations to have a table there. Next year, hopefully more will. But I think disseminating that information was crucial to the progress of this town. And I was very disappointed that there were hurdles thrown in my way when all we were trying to do is, do something positive for the community. So I'm hoping those things can get ironed out by next year. Thank God the barbecue was there because we lost one of our food vendors the day before. But even though, and I just have to say, that barbecue really made the whole thing. So I think they're looking forward to next year, and I think everybody's really looking forward to really creating more of an event for next year. So we have a year, we already had a meeting about next year, and everybody's very positive and very looking forward to it. So that's one thing, and I really want to thank everybody again. Everybody worked so hard. Number 2, so the day of the Fall Festival, I go home around 4 o'clock. I'm sitting in my living room, and there's automatic gunfire going off relentlessly for hours. Interspersed between the automatic gunfire are explosions. I am sitting in my living room. I don't know what's happening. Are we being invaded by, like, who? Is, you know, I mean, I was totally disturbed. I started to text my neighbors a mile and a half up the road, a mile and a half down the road, to my right, to my left. Everybody heard it as if it was in their backyard and were disturbed. I can't imagine what the animals were going through because it was very loud for the horses, the dogs. And the thing that really struck me was we have been in a severe drought, and it was 80 degrees that day. And all I could think about, and I had just read that they were putting out fires over in Rutland on the mountaintops. So all I could think about that day was that there's going to be sparks, it's going to start a fire, unnecessarily. So what I'm asking the select board is there a way that whoever, if they want to hold these events in their house, at their property, that they can notify people that this is going to expect this. We're not being invaded by Hamas, Al-Qaeda, whatever. Expect that I'm going to have my friends over and we're going to be shooting off things and throwing off explosions, which I don't even know if the explosions are legal. Or can we get a noise ordinance? That my peace was really disturbed that day. Because this went on, from the time I heard it went on earlier than when I got home, until about 7 o'clock. So 3 or 4 hours, this was going on constantly. So I'm just asking you to think about, I know a couple of years ago, you guys put forth that the Planning Commission, you wanted them to create a noise ordinance, and then all those things got thrown out. So can you please think about it again, just to keep the peace, just to keep neighbors friendlier with neighbors?
Where was it coming from?
I don't know if I'll tell you after.
We know where it was
know where it
coming.
was
We know
coming
where it was coming
We
from.
all know where it was coming from.
You heard it too?
That was ridiculous.
And it was not,
All
it was not, I mean, it happened at a residence, but most of the participants were from out of state.
So where is the planning commission with, I'm sorry, I'm begging ignorance that I've not been attending your meetings recently. Where are you guys at? Are you still working on the class 4 road stuff? Or are you at a point where you can take on something else to look ahead at this, if that's what's determined, could be done?
Well, a couple of things with my planning commission hat on.
Yes.
We did address noise in our recent bylaw update, and we put decibel reader or
Correct.
decibel limitations from somebody's property line. So that is in place, and that is something that we did update in our last round of bylaw updates.
Right.
Stacy, is that full-time?
Full-time.
I mean, thou
It's in our
shalt
bylaws.
not ever exceed this decibel limit.
Right, so now, well, it's worded, it's consistent, so like if there were heavy construction, there's decibel chainsaws, intermittent chainsaws,
Yeah.
gunfire,
Yeah.
I think we had, a list of 7 or 8 criteria.
Okay.
I think if you feel that there's a violation as a resident, then you can call the zoning administrator. I don't know, though, that the police could actually step in, the state troopers could actually step in with our bylaws? Can they do that?
They wouldn't.
I-
No, without
It
bylaws.
isn't,
Not sure.
just, you know, from the outside, if they're shooting their guns, I don't think the noise ordinance even covers that. I mean, because in Vermont, I think you're allowed to shoot your guns whenever you
It
want.
is
So even if there was a
There was
noise
more than
ordinance,
guns.
It wouldn't.
There was more than
I
guns.
trust me,
Yeah.
I'm well aware of how loud it was, and my dogs were scared, and we live 5
Over the
miles
hill.
away. But even if there was a noise ordinance put in place, they'd still be able to do it. There's nothing we can do about.
Right.
And they were doing it during the day.
So that's why I thought about the idea of notifying your neighbors. At least that's something. And then if the neighbors know and they hear, you know, they can say, well, no, I object to this, you know. And I do know this person was already sued for a noise violation.
Well, and, you know, when you're speaking about the noise of somebody's chainsaw versus somebody shooting and blowing things up for 3 or 4 hours, and it was
Fine.
at least, see, so we were down and we were here.
Yeah, we were here.
When we came home, it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like you said, Jane, and it really did go on for at least 2 more hours
Oh no, we
at our
had
house.
people there, and it was.
Oh, I'm sure your
Very
guests were really happy with
No,
that.
They weren't happy.
I'll bet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was excessive.
Yeah.
It was.
So-
But again, with the laws in the state and the country, I don't even know if there's anything that could be done about it.
I don't necessarily think that if you called the state police and said that somebody's blowing things up, tanninite is illegal, that they wouldn't come and at least stop in. And I know I would be charged if the state police stopped into my yard and said, what the heck are you doing blowing things up? So
Yeah, I mean,
that's just my
automatic-
personal opinion, you know?
Automatic weapons are legal, as long as they're registered properly. But,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, somebody sighting in their rifles or target shooting is, again, a lot different than 5 hours of,
Sure,
you know, shooting. And it was rapid fire,
And
interspersed with explosions.
I must say that we went out, as the planning commission, we went out of our way to accommodate this person prior to this. And overstepped, we crossed boundaries in order to accommodate because we thought, well, let's give this a chance and you know what I'm talking about. But
No, I don't know what you're talking about. What did we over accommodate and go out of bounds?
we gave them a variance.
Oh, okay, all right. Sorry, I was on the wrong page.
No. Not that
So you're
one
not-
should preclude the other, but I think what we
No,
were
no, no.
thinking when we, like, as the zoning board of adjustments went to look at this property and saw, you know, and then figured it's a young family, we want to help them out, blah, 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 blah.
I don't necessarily
let's
know
not-
that
feel
that's the
that-
same
Let's
person.
not
I just feel
conflate,
that-
let's not conflate.
I don't think it's the same person
No,
after
but
the
I,
fact.
what?
After the fact, I don't think it's that person that you're speaking of.
I think it is.
Okay, so,
Fair enough.
so
Yeah.
you're going on record in
No.
public. So those were the
Yes.
good houses.
I am going,
And I personally did not do any variance or agree to any variance that would give us favor
no, not to give anybody.
over
No,
anyone,
no.
any other thing in the
That's
future or
not what I
past.
said. No, that's not what I said.
So then, the only other people who are on record as doing this are the Chases.
No, right.
So,
No, what I said was that when we can go into executive session and discuss it. No,
this isn't our meeting.
Right.
when we had this issue in front of us, we were like, okay, let's think of the whole town as a community. We want young people here, we want families here, let's help out. And then I didn't feel that the same kind of deference was shown back to the neighbors by this show of gun shooting and explosions.
Okay, so I'm really uncomfortable
Okay.
having this discussion. It's your meeting, you can continue it if
Yeah.
you wish, but as a planning commissioner in an official position, I'm uncomfortable continuing this discussion. I think there's a format for it, and we can bring up a noise ordinance if you wish us to discuss it and bring back our recommendations, but I'm really uncomfortable with pointing fingers when we don't know all the facts.
And I don't even know who it was.
Yeah, I don't know who it
I've kind of
was.
sorted it out, but
Yeah.
anyway.
It was,
It does seem from the noise over the last 4 or 5 years, just for me, it was from the same direction. Because, one property's here and one property's there. And it seemed like it came from the property for the last 4 or 5 years. But I wasn't there, I didn't see it, I was busy.
So, Mr. Allen, as the zoning administrator, would you suggest that people call you in this situation? Or would you prefer that if you really have a problem, that you would call law enforcement?
Can I jump in, Bob, before you're forced to answer that?
So I'm not forced to answer anything.
Yeah, that's true. So let's be clear. It is legal to own and operate an automatic weapon.
Yep.
Might not be appropriate, it might not be taking your neighbors into consideration. Tannerite or explosive targets are not legal and are not allowed to be used here in Vermont. So if somebody knows that they're being used, perfectly within your right to call the state police, call local law enforcement, and have that person cited. So, and I think that is the way to go. Instead of them calling you, I think if you hear exploding targets, call the cops.
Yeah.
I guess I would agree with that, but in the meantime, I'd like to do a little more research on this issue, not specifically this issue, but the issue in general.
Yep.
And see, okay, if this is going on, then who do we call?
Mm-hmm.
Do we call the state police? We call the Windsor County Sheriffs? We call the zoning administrator? I don't know. But I don't see where I would have to read the zoning ordinance, that section in there relative to noise carefully, and then ask some people some questions and see what I get for an answer. As a zoning administrator, not as a select board person.
Yep.
That seems fair.
And I think we'd be more than happy to do that in tandem with you. If you wanted to join our next meeting, we could bring it up, put it on the agenda, and carefully go through that section, just so we're all on the same page. And then if we need to, further that conversation, then I think it would be appropriate to have those discussions.
Mm-hmm.
But if bombs going off, if I felt if I were in fear of someone invading our property and bombs were going off, I would definitely call the state troopers. I don't know if they'd show up, but I'd definitely call them to go on record.
Yeah.
The one thing that the state police does in these rural areas, pretty much all over the state, is the next call is to the sheriff's department that is covering the town. So somebody might show up, but I don't know if it would be a state police officer or deputy sheriff. I can't answer that question.
And then when they investigate initially and get, feet on the ground, then they could then defer it to the Vermont's ATF, and go from there.
Yeah. Well, we don't want anything to grow into like what happened over in here, where was it, over near Manchester? Something like that, but I don't see that as happening if it's an occasional situation.
Yeah.
I don't see that as growing into that, so I'll do a little investigation.
well, so the occasional situation, if I knew there was a party and this is what they were doing, fine. But the fact that I did not know was what really upset me, that there was inconsideration to the neighbors.
Well, maybe a phone call to somebody to ask. Maybe they would be willing to let the neighbors know.
Well, I think this goes back to my comments prior is, our community should be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm having a party, or I'm doing this. It may cause some traffic. It may cause a little disruption.
Yeah.
And I think where we've stepped from and where we are now, it's people take any sort of communication as a possible defensive action, and, you know, they immediately go on the defense
And then it could get
or
worse.
offense, and then it, as we've seen over the past several years, it can blow up to be a big mess.
Right. Okay, let's table this for more discussion at a later date. I gotta back up. I had a C1 in here for a agenda item. John Malcolm has written us a letter of resignation. Said that he notified the EC Fiber Board of my intention to resign due to our family relocating out of state. It has been an honor and privilege to represent our great town in such a worthy project. Thank you to the Select Board for entrusting me with this position that I've held for nearly a decade. I trust that Jerry will continue to represent Reading exceptionally. I didn't see this in time to call Jerry to see what his take is on it, but hopefully, and as a matter of fact, I don't know where EC Fiber is going. If you follow papers,
Yeah.
there seems to be EC Fiber over here and somebody else over here that's trying to run
Right.
the whole thing. So I don't know where it's going, but I'll talk to Jerry and see if he's willing to pick up the lead, and if not, we'll go from there.
Okay.
Good. Perfect. And we need a motion. I guess we have to move to accept his resignation, but I don't know what else we could possibly do. 'Cause
Since
he's
they're
in
gone.
the middle of Pennsylvania.
What happens if we don't accept it?
He's coming back.
No, you can't go.
All right. With that, any other?
Sarah?
I'd like to ask a question
Yes.
with regard to the minutes of the previous meeting, in the discussion on Route 106 and Beltsville Village and signage, speed limit, the issues of safety for crossing the road there. Has the select board had the opportunity to learn anything new or talk with the state, or where are we with that community question?
I talked with Agency of Transportation about the crosswalk sign, and I was told by this gentleman that those crosswalk signs are only used on town-maintained highways, not on state highways. I had a conversation with another gentleman, and he said, well, there are exceptions to that. Basically, if you go to Woodstock and drive through town, that is part of the town network of roads once you get to the golf course. So those pedestrian signs that are right smack dab in the middle of the road were put there by the town. The state told me that they don't do that. I also had a talk with him about the situation on Reading Hill, Route 106, and Miller Marcos came down, or Marcos Miller, I'm not sure which, came down and took a look at it and sent me an email, but he really didn't answer the question other than to say that when they put up signs on the state highway, they intend them to be permanent, and therefore in that situation, he didn't see how we could do anything on the state highway. However, we could do certain things on Jenny Road, which we had already done. We had moved the road closure sign closer to the tire on the north end, and it was right in the middle of the road on the south end. It did create some problems for some people with mail, but all in all, I guess it worked fairly well. I went over through there a couple of different weekends, and I didn't see anybody. But that doesn't mean anything. Timing is everything. So who knows what happened 20 minutes after I turned the corner and headed back down to town. So anyway, to finish the conversation.
With regard to safety in the village,
What's that?
are there other steps that we can take with regard to safety at the crosswalk in the village? If the state is unwilling, what I'm hearing you say is the state has said they're unwilling to do anything different than what they've done so far with the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit and a static sign that says school, but nothing that flashes, nothing that's at the crosswalk itself. You know, is there anything that you can do? What I will tell you that in the short number of years I've been here in this town, I've seen many more people who live in the village walking along Route 106, taking dogs for walks, going back and forth across the road. And then, of course, there's the issue of the children, and that's a particularly active part of the road at a time that overlaps when there's a good amount of, you know, coming back into town traffic for people who've been outside of town for work, I'm guessing, because the traffic does seem to pick up in the later part of the afternoon, which is also when there are more children around. So I guess I'm just wondering if the state is saying we have a status quo and they don't seem to be engaging in a conversation, wondering why we're questioning the status quo. What could we do next?
One of the other things that I asked for, Sarah, was for them to consider putting a sign where the flashing lights are on the post that was something to the effect of 20 miles per hour when light is flashing, or 25, whatever the reasonableness is. And that was also turned over to the sign people in the state, Miller, Marcos, or Marcos Miller, I'm not sure which. The email addresses kind of confuse you sometimes as to what the first name really is. But anyhow, they were going to take a look at that, and at the same time I asked them to retime the lights, because they were way out of whack, and I was told that that is something that there was somebody at the school that knew how to do that, but I'm wondering if that somebody was the janitor that has not been there since Woodstock took over, and there may be a little bit of a gap there. So I have put in a call to Woodstock, but I haven't heard back, so I don't know what the status is or whether they actually retimed them or not.
Can I
I
add?
can tell you they haven't retimed them because I have cause to be there when they should be operating. But thank you so much for continuing to pursue this. And it's one of those that feels like it's going to be a tedious slog, but hopefully maybe we'll make some progress over time. So thank you, for continuing those efforts.
Yeah, I will follow up with the state. I can send this Mr. Marcos a email and asking him what he has come up with in regards to the village of Felchville. Go from there, if anything.
I can add to that, Sarah. I spent a little time myself reaching out to Sheriff Palmer's office, and I did kind of lay out our whole issue that we're having and asked about the sign, the little guy in the crosswalk that says please slow down, and I indicated that the state had told you no thank you, and he said, well, you could put some cones out there anyway and move them. But he also offered that during the time that we have a detail in town anyway, that he'd be happy to put up a radar right near the school during those hours. So he asked me to find out when would be best. I've reached out to the school administrator as well as the principal to see if they can let us know what the best timing would be, and Sheriff Palmer has said that they'll put a radar there during those time frames. I also reached out to Logan from Mark regarding that SS4A program that he was talking about, the safety grants. And if we are able to get any sort of signage, I'm hopeful that that may be able to be a grant process. I don't know if it's a town versus state roadway situation. I'm waiting to hear back from him, but anything I get on that, I'll be able to share as well. But Sheriff Palmer's said, put the cones out anyway and see what the state says and then reevaluate from there.
I will say this, that if we start the cones And they can be quite a distance apart, but if you start the cones up here somewhere by Mill Street or whatever, you wouldn't need very many, and they do tend to make
Slow
people
people down.
nervous that the road is,
Yeah,
you know, half the width it used to be when it's
Right.
only a cone
Right.
in the square.
Right.
So,
so maybe we have extra cones with the highway department that we can kind of trial that if we're stuck at an impasse with the state regarding just putting one little sign out in the middle of our crosswalk
We
that
know.
can be moved.
we can always ask
After
for
that time.
forgiveness.
There you
That's
go.
right, we sure can. So, that's what I have for that.
And there has been more presence in, I mean, I'm not out on the roads a lot, but it's amazing how often I see, and they roam their little, you know, wherever they park
Yeah.
to catch
Yeah.
people.
Okay,
Thank you so much for continued attention to this.
Of course.
Again, it's part of, if a village becomes more vibrant, it's got some different issues too.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
any other?
Just briefly, everybody did a great job on the Fall Festival, from the kickoff with the chili cook-off on Friday night, right through the people that did the chicken barbecue. It was amazing. The food was wonderful. It made you think of old home days. They did a really good job and they worked their butts off. The music was wonderful, so good job, everyone. Thank you very much. It was much appreciated.
And thank you for starting the parade.
Well, we were doing good until we were about ready to get run over, and Lisa said,
I got
"Let 'em
scared.
go."
I have a kid. I was scared.
The PTO is on notice to work better with that next year.
It's hard to slow down your bike on that hill going down into town, to be fair.
I would say this, that the Historical Society had a little mini craft sale. We didn't sell a lot of stuff, but the presentations that were done up in the museum went over very well. We had a lot of people that stood around there for the few minutes that Doug and Tim were doing their presentations on the maps and things they had found. So that was, we got a couple of new members, maybe 4, I don't know.
That's
Got a
great.
few,
Nice.
few new members, and so we'll see what happens next year.
Yeah, it's a really good
I did
event.
get good feedback from their programs at the Historical Society. Yeah.
Good.
Alrighty, if there's no other,
No others.
No other,
we'll table the selectmen's meeting and go to executive session.
okay.
Okay.
And I will let you know when we come out. I'll send you an email, Vanessa.